Got the wingspan to get them both.
I know, you got those big hands.
Well, welcome everybody to Monday Night Live.
Woo-hoo! The best night of the week.
The best night of the week. We are so excited to join you tonight and to be in our Monday Night Live. Dean Nixon, Kate Semmens, TurningLeaf Wellness and Health and Wellness and Wellness Center here in sunny St. George.
Yes. Welcome, you guys. Sunny, even though we are straight up hardcore into fall and it's been dark for hours.
Yes, it is dark, but it is nice and warm.
Oh, yeah.
So, pretty stoked about tonight's topic. Super excited about last week's topic. We had a lot of fun, a lot of feedback, a lot of interaction, and super grateful to everybody that was engaging with us. I know that a few of you that are tuning in and coming online. It's super cool to have you interacting. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for joining us and joining in and chiming in with your thoughts and your ideas and
we really do our best to update because we do have 3 different feeds going right now. So sometimes we don't catch all the comments. So please don't take it personally if we don't read your comment. We see you, we love you, we hold space for you, but it is a lot to balance.
Absolutely. Well, tonight, one of the things that we wanted to talk about, and we could just jump right into it.
Love it. Let's do it.
Congratulations to our individual that won the seat in the stress and anxiety. But we'll jump into tonight's topic. I just want to make sure we say congratulations.
Yes.
So tonight's topic, we really wanted to spend some time talking about the idea of and the concept of relief from stress, the relief from stress and anxiety. I know we've been talking a lot about stress and anxiety, but I love it.
Is anybody getting bored of this one? I don't think so. I think because we're just kind of stepping through the process too a little bit.
Right.
We've got a little bit more to share.
And so the concept tonight is really based upon the idea of release or relief. And what I'm noticing, especially with a lot of people that I'm working with, recently, and not just recently, but throughout my career, has been this idea of needing to get a break, to quiet the voices of the mind, to get away from the stresses and the anxieties of life. And the thing that's so intriguing to me is we have gotten to a point in our world today that every single solution, we have to it is external.
Yes, you're right. We're looking for that escape, right? Like from all of the stress and anxiety. I think even too, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, I'm obviously speaking from my own experience, but it's almost as if an arrival point, right? Like when I can get there, then I will have the peace. I don't have to hustle as hard. I won't have as much emotional discomfort, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes. And so we're always living in the future. We're always putting off our happiness. We're always putting off the relief. We're always putting off. And so we're grinding through all of these pieces that we're ignoring. We're not coping. We're not dealing with it. We're not processing. And that's the part that's really scary to me is we're really not learning to process what we're learning. We're really not processing the thoughts and the feelings and the actions and the things that we really need to be processing. We just keep pushing them off into the distance, hoping that someday at some point I'm going to come across this magic moment or magic
unicorn moment
pill or magic person that's going to relieve us from all of this discomfort.
Right. And for me too, I feel like sometimes I will get into that state of endure, right? Like I just have to endure what I'm going through right now. And I do believe in sacrifice and I do believe in hard work. I think that those are very important things oftentimes in order to be able to create the life that we want. But when it becomes just your life, it's just nothing but endurance, enduring to the end, suffering through stuff in order to be able to get to this arrival point. Someday you're going to look back on your whole life and all you're going to have done is just
endured.
Waited for the relief.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's so intriguing to me too, that we are so caught up in the past. We're so caught up in the pain. We're caught up in the events. We're caught up in the hurt and all the stories that we're constantly telling ourselves. about why we're the way we are, or why people in our lives are the way that they are, as a form of understanding or justifying. But we get to a point where we're living in the future thinking, well, I will eventually find the answer. I will eventually find that space or place or event or thing that will take that discomfort. And so it's not surprising to me that our young men, our young men and our women are now at a point in life where we have all of these addictions that are on the rise.
Yes.
We've got our social media addiction that is starting to really spiral out of control. Our substance abuse issues, our other avoidant addictions and dependencies that are really on the rise because we're not learning within ourselves how to relieve the suffering. So anytime anybody says, I just am looking forward, I'll be so happy when, why can't they just get it? When is my child going to stop? When is my family member going to listen? When is this? And we're always talking from this space of being uncomfortable, of being miserable, of suffering.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dean, I guess then kind of where my brain's going in this direction is obviously there's got to be a balance, right? Because there is healthy suffering, right? It helps us move forward. Like there's purpose to it, to the discomfort. And we've had a lot of lives where we've talked about like, hey, if you're not proactively moving your life forward, life will move you forward.
Right.
And that's discomfort. Like there's going to be a discomfort in that, right? Like the universe, your higher power, however you want to look at that, is going to be like, time to move. And so that's going to get a little bit uncomfortable to stay where we are stuck. But intrinsically, there's got to be some sort of balance in order to create the life that you want and still manage that suffering.
Well, and I love the term, like the term suffering. And I think that's the part that we really get hung up on is this suffering, this discomfort. But the reality is there's, like we talk about it in the key, or I'm sorry, in the 4 steps to confidence. Oh, there it is. And we talk about it. You were going to do the rest. There you go. So, so we talk about it in the 4 steps to confidence, where there are 2 kinds of emotional pain and discomfort. And so emotional pain and discomfort versus suffering. And that's really where I'm coming from, is suffering is something that we create within ourselves. Suffering comes from simply this. So all of you that are watching right now, this is what I want you to do. I want you to just take and make a fist. So just make a fist as tight as you can and just hold it as long and as tight as you can while I'm talking and listening to what I'm saying. So right about now, what is happening is the circulation in your hand is changing. It's being cut off.
Yep.
Your hand is probably turning a little yellow and white in different spots, pink maybe. The blood is not getting everywhere that it needs to be, right? And so we're hanging on, right? We're hanging on so tight. And because we're hanging on so tight, we're actually creating damage. And if I held this fist for a long period of time, and let's say I just made this fist for days, eventually what will happen is I'm going to get compartment syndrome in parts. The circulation's going to stop. The joint's going to stop working properly. Eventually, I can cripple myself from being in this position.
I'm crippling myself right now.
Okay, you can let go.
Baby.
You can let go. But as you let go, feel the relief, right? Do you feel the relief? And that's because we're hanging on so tight that's where the relief comes. And we're always looking for something outside. So we make this fist and we're like, hey, can you undo this for me? You can't undo this? Well, let me find something that can undo this for me. But the reality is we're just hanging on so tight to relationships. We're hanging on so tight to belief systems. We're hanging on so tight to ideas or people loving us and telling us we're amazing. We're hanging on so tight to social media. So we're creating this unnecessary emotional pain and discomfort. And as a consequence of that, we're always suffering.
Yeah.
So then when we finally get that relief for a moment, we feel this big release and we're like, oh, that feels amazing. and then we make the fist again.
Yeah.
And then we go right back to hanging on so tight. And I see us doing that. People are hanging on to control so tight. We're hanging on to controlling relationships or not letting relationships happen. We're hanging on to trying to make somebody communicate with us or trying to not communicate with other people.
Yeah.
We're hiding ourselves. We're isolating ourselves. We're overly immersed or enmeshed in people's lives. And all of it is this external expression of trying to create some type of relief from the suffering that we're creating.
So then is the key to that, is it just living in the moment and going with the flow? That's really hard for those of us that might want to peek at the next chapter that's coming up so that make sure we're going to be okay, right? Like, I'm safe, I'm okay.
Well, and that's the funny part to me about it too is, yes, the answer is living in the moment, right? But most people think, well, I'm going to live in the moment to relieve my suffering. No. You're living in the moment because it's the moment you're in, right? You don't live in the moment because that's going to be the magic pill. And I see people that are like meditating and they're forced meditating and they're doing all these things, trying to live in the moment. They're even doing extreme sports and things that make them feel alive and in the moment. And they're using substances to feel in the moment. They're taking hallucinogens because they think it's going to make them feel in the moment. But you're already in the moment. It's not a matter of I have to do something to be in the moment. In order to be in the moment, you just have to be in the moment. In other words, you have to let go and be present. You have to let go of the fear of the future. You have to let go of the hurt of the past. And you have to breathe into the space that you're in and actually engage every part of who you are in the space you're in without the fear, without the stress, without the anxiety. And it's not an arrival point. It's not. And that's, I think, what you were saying earlier is we think there's this magic arrival point that we're going to get to and then everything's going to go away. But that's not the case.
Right. Well, I do that all the time. Like, I'll create a hierarchy of checklists of things, right? Like, this is my goal. Like, clear over here. I got closer to the camera. I don't know if you guys can see.
I can see that.
Yeah. Like, clear over here is my goal. I'm way back here. This is the space that I have to, like, put my nose to the grindstone to get to it, right?
Right.
And then this recently just happened to me. I had a big, like, project that I've been working on and like, here it was, ta-da, the arrival point. And I still was stressed out, anxious, like there was no relief. And that's exactly what you're talking about. Like, I wanted like this lotus flower experience of just like Zen, right? Like, I did it, hurrah. Like, kind of like when you get to the top of a mountain, I think you get that in nature naturally when you do those kind of epic things, right? Like, you hike up Angel's Landing in Zion National Park and you're like, wow, I just did that really hard thing and look at this beautiful view and I can take a deep breath. But in things that don't have that like really physical, tangible experience, right?
Yeah.
I was really let down. I was really, we talked about it in my coaching session with you. Like, I wanted the celebration. I wanted that, like, yeah, attaboy, pat on my back. Like, and it just didn't come. And I'm like, why won't it come?
I love that. And the reason why it doesn't come is because one is in our mind and the other is experienced.
Right.
You know, that's the Angel's Landing is such a great example of that. So those of you that aren't from the St. George area, we live about 45 minutes away from Zion Canyon. And in Zion, there's this great, beautiful hike. It's really amazing. Everybody comes from all over the world to hike it, and it's called Angel's Landing. And once you complete it, once you finally get to the very top, you have this amazing vista of these beautiful plateaus and mesas, and it
basically plunks you right out in the middle of the canyon on top of this ledge,
right?
Which is like a little bit tricky to get to the top of. So like, you face your fear, like you got to kind of like really dig in deep.
But you are physically engaged in that process. Yes. You are in the moment. But then the other one where you're creating this checklist when you're thinking, well, once I get the kids fed,
yes,
once I get, the dog fed and the dishes done,
once I get the kids 18, right?
Right.
Then there's relief.
Out on their own. Once I get the kids moved out, once I get them through high school, once I get them, once they do this, once I do that, then I'm going to feel so happy. Mm-hmm. Then I'll feel connected. Then I'll feel free and all these things. Because that's all up here. That's in our mind. We're creating it. Where Angel's Landing, you're on the hike up and you're engaged and you're accepting the reality that this is tenuous, this is tough, this is stressful, this is hard. But then once you arrive, you don't dilute yourself with the idea of the end. Like, we're done. Somebody's going to carry me down to the bottom, right? Some angel's going to swoop me up and nobody does. Everybody's like, okay, now we start all the way back down. So there's this acceptance of being in the moment. There's this acceptance of this is my process, this is my journey. And I see it with families as they raise children, as they go through trials of sick and health and happy and joy. And there's a level of needing to accept, well, this is the journey.
Yeah.
And I've come this far, now I've got to go the rest of the way. I've come up to the top, now I've got to go back down. And I can always go back to the top, but I'm always going to have to come back down. And that engagement in life is really, truly the answer. Not watching Netflix for 17 hours, not going on vacation and thinking, well, once I get on vacation, everything's going to be amazing. Mm-hmm. It's because once you go on vacation, eventually you have to what?
Come home.
You got to come home.
Well, you want to, too, because you start missing your cats.
Yeah, I can see why you'd miss your cats. I don't miss cats.
No.
So,
you miss your loved ones.
I'm not a cat hater.
You miss your
I'm just
people.
not a cat lover. I do miss my kids.
Yeah.
So those are things that we've got to remember is why am I doing what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got to stay out of the most dangerous place. I love Bonnie George said not at all dangerous.
Angel's Landing.
Angel's Landing.
Not at all.
Well, I will propose that this is a more dangerous space.
Get in. You were not.
Oh, this is a lot more dangerous than Angel's Landing.
Mm.
I will propose that because this is the neighborhood you keep going up into and getting mugged and hijacked. This is the neighborhood that you go in and you're continually, constantly suffering. So really it's about learning the coping skills, the coping mechanisms, the processes that take you out of that. But that's an investment of time. That's an investment of energy, and you are worth it.
Yeah. So now I'm just thinking, Dean, about all of those places and things that we get put into that really are, like we talked about, sometimes if we don't move forward in life, life will try to move us forward, right? So then we get really really uncomfortable. So those aren't the things we're talking about. We're talking about that the thing that we do to ourselves, right? If like you're at a job that you're like, oh, I'm really hating my job and it's time for me to move up or on or forward or to the right or whatever it is, then that's different, right? Like that's going to be evaluating what it is that we want to create in our life and then moving forward to that. This is, guess what, guys? Life is uncomfortable.
It is. And we are getting to, like we talked about in our videos, so many of our lives is we are getting to a point where people are not comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I hear this so many times where I have individuals that are coming in and they're self-medicating. And they're saying, well, I have to self-medicate. I have to self-medicate because I have so much stress. I have so much anxiety. I have this, I have that. And I'm saying stress or self-medicating. I'm talking about sitting down with your medical professional and coming up with a solution that's best for you. I'm talking about, somebody self-medicating.
Right.
And we're thinking, well, that's the only way I can live. That's the only way I can deal with the stress, the only way that I can sleep, the only way I can get through work. And the problem is that there's better solutions, a lot better solutions, more effective solutions, but it's easier. But the thing that's interesting is that you can self-medicate all day long, but eventually that self-medication is going to stop working. Mm-hmm. And that self-medication is going to lead you to other things and whatever it may be. But I will tell you, if you're out there and you're self-medicating, eventually it's going to start to affect your relationships and you're going to start planning your life around it, and it's going to become more and more difficult. However, if you do the work, if you come in and you do the work, if you find a professional around you and you do the work and you start working on the coping mechanisms, you start working on living in the now, you start reading the books you need to be doing the healthy meditation, not meditation to solve the problem, but meditation to be in the moment.
Yeah.
Now you're onto something. Now you're headed down a path that's going to bring you peace, joy, grounding, etc. But yes, you're right. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of hurt. There's a lot of pain. And that's just life.
Yeah.
That's just life.
Yeah. But I love the exercise we did in the beginning, though, too. So, like, also really looking for those places that you just need to let go.
Yeah.
Right?
Find them.
Yeah.
Find them. We're already out of time, as always. So super excited to be with you.
I feel like we just got started,
I know, just ramped up. So Kate is going to be on vacation next Monday. So
it's my birthday.
It's a birthday. So wish Kate happy birthday next Monday. So we will see what's going to happen.
Yeah, we're going to try. I've been experimenting with Jamie out in Michigan. I think we've got a really good figured it out how we can make this happen
live
again.
Together.
Yep.
Yes, and so we're excited. So next week she may be coming live to us with the sun still out in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And I'll be here in the darkness. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you for your comments. Sorry we didn't get to everybody's comments.
We love you all.
You guys are amazing. Again, big challenge. Talk about this to everybody. Talk about it at the dinner table. Talk about it at the water cooler. Talk about it. Talk, world. Let's get discussions going. Super grateful. Oh, Hogan Powell chimed in. Hogan, your dang Astros beat my Yankees. Congratulations to you, though. So thank you, everybody.
Have a wonderful week.
And thank you we'll see you next week on Monday Night Live.
Yes.
Okay.
Bye.
I'll go high.
I go low.